Sound the alarm! Because GPU prices are finally crashing. But why is this occurring, and how long is it gonna be until GPUs finally hit their MSRP? Let's talk about it. Before that, this video is brought to you by RGB Swap. If you're looking for a better alternative to eBay with lower fees and better protection, make sure to check out RGB Swap linked in the description below. So if you've been following my channel, you've probably heard me say before that GPU prices have been falling for some time now, and if you check places like eBay today, you'll definitely notice that the prices now are a lot better than they've been for some time, and we'll definitely go ahead and talk about that a little bit later in this video. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at some hard data that we finally have to prove that yes, GPU prices are not only dropping pretty rapidly, but they're likely also going to continue to drop, which is going to be great news for gamers who are finally going to have an opportunity to buy a GPU for what is likely going to be a reasonable price in the near future. Now, this information comes from the Twitter account 3dcenter.org, and they've been tracking GPU prices over in Germany for some time now, and just recently they put out their latest update showing GPU prices for Nvidia as well as AMD in the month of February. Now, to keep in mind, yes, this is in Germany, so it's not necessarily going to be one-to-one reflective of what we're seeing in the US, but I have seen very similar trends in the US. Now, taking a look at the chart here, we can see that as of the month of February, GPU prices have continued to plummet, despite the fact that if we look at the yellow line, Ethereum has gone up. So that's a very interesting development there, but what we can see is that GPU supply has also increased. Now, taking a look at AMD specifically, it's actually the lowest it's been in about 13 months. It's nearly as low as the launch price, so that's actually not too bad, though we do have to keep in mind that 145% of the original MSRP is probably just going to be a little bit too high still, at least for me. Now, taking a look at Nvidia, what we can see here is that it's at about 157% of its original launch MSRP. So again, a big improvement here, but still just a little bit too high. But you might be asking the question, why is this actually occurring, and how long is it going to take for GPUs to hit their MSRP? And that's a great question. And first, let's go ahead and talk about why is this occurring. And I think there's actually a number of factors. Now, despite the fact that Ethereum, which is the main currency people mine on GPUs, did have a rally back up to over $3,100, which is a pretty big increase over the roughly $2,200 low, mining profitability is still not good and is dropping by the day thanks to increased difficulty and power costs. And not only is profitability likely going to continue to drop at Ethereum's current price, but there's also a couple other factors that have miners pretty hesitant to buy GPUs in 2022, which brings me to my second point, and that's proof of stake and a possible recession. So supposedly in mid-2022, which isn't too far away at this point, we're going to be seeing Ethereum moving to proof of stake, which should make it far more efficient, as it'll no longer rely on people mining with GPUs, and as all that pay-to-hash of hashing power moves off of the Ethereum network and distributes into other mineable coins, their market caps simply won't be high enough to maintain anywhere near the profits that we're seeing today. That is, as long as it's not delayed again. But we also have to consider the high likelihood of interest rates rising in 2022 and a possible recession, which will almost certainly cause a massive crash in the price of cryptocurrency, which will hurt profits even more. And the smart miners, well, they definitely know this, and they're keeping that in mind when they're going and taking a look at GPUs and probably deciding not to buy them at this point. So there you have it. One big reason as to why GPU prices may be continuing to decrease is simply because you're probably seeing a lot less demand from miners. They're probably just buying a lot less graphics cards, and honestly, that makes sense. But there's actually a couple more reasons as to why GPU prices may be decreasing, and it's actually down to gamers, because obviously gamers are buying GPUs as well, and honestly, I think they're getting a lot less interested in buying GPUs at their current inflated prices, and here's why. So the first reason is, well, honestly, there's going to be new GPUs coming out from both Nvidia, AMD, and Intel in 2022, and I think a lot of gamers are looking at this and they're just being like, why would I buy an overpriced RTX 3080 now if we know that GPUs coming out from both Nvidia and AMD, which could be as early as Q3 2022, are going to be a massive leap and would make the RTX 3080 a much worse buy than it currently is right now, and I might actually have a little bit of buyer's remorse. On top of that, we also have to keep in mind that Intel could be releasing their cards as early as Q2 2022, 2022. I know there was some talk of Q1, but at this point, I think we're talking Q2, and Intel could also provide a lot of down pressure on GPU pricing. They might not be competing necessarily with like an RTX 4090 or something like that, but they are going to be competing in the mid to entry level GPUs, and that's going to apply a lot of pressure. Now, the second reason as to why I believe gamers just might simply be a lot less interested in buying overinflated cards right now is that, well, a lot of the people who were able to buy cards at a much higher price than they were originally launched at probably already have their cards, and everyone else who's left just simply isn't interested in paying that extra tax. This is just honestly, frankly, ridiculous, and they're probably just going to have to be serviced by Nvidia by either lowering their prices, or they're going to have to introduce new cards like the RTX 3050 at a lower price point so that these people are actually going to go ahead and buy these cards. I just don't see a lot of people who are left who are willing or interested in paying thousands of dollars for a graphics card, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense. So now we've gone over the hard data showing that yes, GPU prices are decreasing, and they're likely going to continue to decrease, at least in Germany, and honestly, even the US. I've noticed a similar trend. Taking a look at something like the RTX 3070 over on eBay, I've seen it going for as low as $845, and it's even over your best offer, so you might even be able to get it cheaper than that. The RX 6700 XT, I've seen it as low as $735, and the RX 6600 new, I've seen as low as $440. These are the lowest prices I've seen on GPUs for some time, even in the US as well. We've also talked about why this is actually occurring as well, so we actually have an idea as to why it's going to probably continue to be the case. But finally, we have to answer the question, when will GPUs finally hit their MSRP? And this is kind of a complicated one because yes, GPUs could definitely hit their MSRP, and they could even go lower than their MSRP, but I think this would only occur if a bunch of miners went ahead and sold their GPUs. Now, this is something that I don't know if it's going to actually occur or not. So here's what I'm going to say about this. I think the GPU prices will eventually, at least, before the RTX 40 series releases, will yes, get close to their MSRP. Will they hit their MSRP or go lower? That's something I don't know for sure, but what I do know is that GPU prices will continue to improve for over the coming months. And while I can't give you an exact date as to when GPUs will hit their exact MSRP, honestly, my best guess, like I mentioned earlier, probably 2 to 4 months, but it's going to depend on things such as when is Intel releasing their GPUs exactly, what price are they going to be at, when are Nvidia and AMD releasing their GPUs, and is proof of stake going to happen? But yeah, again, I think it's going to be not too long before you're getting reasonable prices on GPUs. And honestly, I can't wait to make all kinds of videos telling you guys like which GPUs you should buy and which GPUs you should avoid after this whole cryptocurrency mining craze is over, because honestly, guys, I think it is going to be coming to an end pretty soon, and it's just going to be an absolutely fantastic time for people who are looking to buy a GPU. But hey, that's just what I think. How long do you think it's going to take for GPUs to hit their MSRP? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia get more stock. Also, if you want to see more, click here. You won't be disappointed.